I caused a haunting. My birthday is October 21st. I'm also absolutely obsessed with horror and Halloween things. So, for every birthday for as long as I can remember, I've done a Halloween theme. When I was younger, I'd have a sleepover party, and we would watch scary movies. For my 13th birthday, we of course did the same thing. We ended up watching a few movies that night, but the main one we were doing was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. We ended up watching a few movies that night, but the main one we were doing was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. A quick detail, my aunt was living with us at the time. The entire night she was saying some weird things, I don't even remember what, but things like doing stuff like this is just asking for bad attention, but most of the night was uneventful. Around 1 in the morning we started the Exorcism movie. During a high-tension part, for those that have seen it, it would be the part where she leaves her dorm and looks outside. As she was walking through the hallway, my dog, who was in a different room, starts howling. He never in his life howled before or after that night. A little later on, my aunt came upstairs. She didn't say much but stayed a while. When it got closer to the end, another high-tension part, I half remember a barn and the demons naming themselves. My aunt, without saying a word, jumps up, and in the exact second her feet hit the ground, our power went out, but only in the living room and my bedroom. This wasn't even too alarming because it did that pretty often, but not usually at night. I only know my bedroom went out because my alarm clock was messed up. My aunt flipped the breaker and everything was fine. We didn't finish the movie though, put on SpongeBob and all fell asleep. The next day, 2 of my friends left really early. We were gonna go to the lake, but they left before we really had a chance to talk about it. My best friend stayed all weekend. Nothing really happened, but the house felt heavy all that day. About 3 weeks went by and nothing happened. Eventually though, I started having horrible dreams, especially about one thing. It was a woman, very tall, in a semi-simple dress. I could see lines in the features, but it was a shadow, like a 3-dimensional type shadow. I would dream things like running through a forest or falling down a hill, and she would always be watching me. I wake up covered in scratches, but clearly self-inflicted scratches. They would be deeper every night. We tried everything, cutting my nails every night to as short as possible, taping gloves on my hands, mom sleeping with me. She worked 12 hours, 6 days a week. She could not stay awake and watch me, but she tried. Eventually it got to a point where they were on my neck and the school was asking questions. We even had Child Protective Services come to our house and ask me if I was safe. Eventually we up and moved. Like literally I went to bed one night like normal, and when I woke up my mom had all mine and my brother's stuff packed. We went to my grandma's after school, and we never went back to that house. My mom moved in a few weeks later. It took about 2 months to get into a new house. The dream stopped instantly and the scratches cleared up within a few weeks. I haven't had issues since. Expect I have horrible insomnia and anxiety that started around that time. We did have one more visit with CPS after moving, and I did a few more months of therapy. I think they all checked it up to extreme anxiety, except we were never able to find a cause. My husband and I recently moved to an apartment that is just a few blocks away from that house. Within 3 weeks of moving in, I started scratching myself, although I didn't dream about her at all. We were on a month-to-month lease, so we only spent 2 months there, then moved out. I did bring it up to my mom last week, and she told me that the reason she moved us to my grandma like she did was because she was sitting in the living room after putting us to bed, like 10 minutes after we went to sleep. She would lay in both our rooms till then she was absolutely awake. She watched a tall, shadow-like woman walk through the hall, stopped and looked into my brother's room, then went into mine. My mom went after it, and when she got to my room she heard, "You've already lost her." She turned all the lights on and started packing. It's kind of a boring ending, but I've been questioning it a lot lately. Could this have just been anxiety, or was it real? I've never experienced anything else I would consider supernatural. Make the background music horrifying.